Hey, what's going on guys? Bevan Dennis here with another video for you. And today I'm going to be talking about skinny dudes, aka hard gainers. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of you guys, but I know exactly how you feel. If you're one of these people who's tried to build muscle but has just not seen results, who's been consistent, who's tried different methods but has still not seen results, who wakes up in the morning and is just sad looking in the mirror when you see a bag of bones, I know how you guys feel. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel happy with the way you look, but if you're wanting to make a change, I think you have all the rights to do so. So if you're one of these people, stick around and watch this video. Or don't, I can't really tell you what to do. But if you stick around and watch this video, I think you would really find some things that I did which would help you out. So one of the most important things when it comes to building muscle is your diet. As a skinny person, your focus would be to stay on a calorie surplus. What is a calorie surplus? In order to understand that, I would just have to give you a short explanation on what calorie maintenance is. Calorie maintenance is basically consuming enough calories for the day, basically to cover your energy expenditure. So for example, let's say you're a 60 kg dude whose calorie maintenance would be about 2000 calories per day. In order for you to stay in a calorie surplus, you would have to consume about 2300 or 2400. You can go on the higher end as well, but then there is a risk that you would be also putting on a lot more fat. So I would generally suggest to stay on a small calorie surplus and build muscle consistently and try to reduce the amount of fat that you build. That would generally help you see gains even better. The second most important thing when it comes to your diet is your protein. As a skinny person, I would generally recommend for you to consume at least 2 grams of protein per kg of your body weight, which means that if you're about 60 kilos, you would have to consume about 120 grams of protein every single day. Now, it's not necessary that you have to consume this in 3 meals or 2 meals. What I would do is I would generally break it up into 4 meals. So if that is like 120 grams per day, I would be consuming 30 grams of protein per meal for 4 meals. That generally helps me not having to eat too much in one meal, because I know it's difficult to consume a lot of food at one go. So that helps me, just have enough food every meal, but also get in the required protein that I need for the day. The reason why protein is so important is because it helps in the process of muscle protein synthesis, and it also helps in generating new muscle tissue as a result of stress which is caused due to resistance training. So keeping a high protein diet is very, very important. Now that we're done with the diet part, the second part, which is very underrated, and this was the mistake that even I made, is that not having a good sleep cycle. I cannot stress on this enough that sleep is so important for building muscle. In order to get those gains coming in quick, you have to have the sufficient amount of sleep. A lot of these motivational videos that get you guys pumped up for 1-2 workouts say that you're going to have to not have much sleep and you're going to have to work on less sleep. That's just the scam. Don't follow those blindly. I know at the moment it gets you hyped up, but that's not the way you're supposed to move about with this. In order to actually see results, you're going to have at least 7 to 8 hours, minimum 7 hours of sleep, or 8 to 9 hours of sleep. The reason why sleep is so important is because in the state of deep sleep, your body tends to release more blood into the muscles, and having more blood flow into the muscles, which brings a lot more oxygen and nutrients into the muscle, which helps the muscle develop and repair overnight. So keeping your sleep cycle is the most important part of it. Okay, so now that we're done with the diet and the rest part, let's get to the fun part, which is the workout. Generally, when I'm working out, I focus on 3 things, which is progressive overload, time under tension, and the number of reps I'm performing. So I'll start off with progressive overload, and I'll try to explain in simple what that means. Progressive overload basically means you add extra weight or extra reps to a particular movement in order to grow muscle or to better the performance of that movement. So like I said, when you're training, if you add progressive overload, there are 2 ways you can add that. One is by adding more reps, and one is by adding extra weight. So generally when you're adding more reps, there is definitely a stop point. You just can't keep doing more reps with one particular weight. It's going to get easy and it's not going to help you in any way. So for example, let's say you're doing the bicep curls. When you're doing bicep curls, if you take a particular weight, for example, let's say you take 10 kgs. So when you're doing bicep curls, let's say for example, you take 10 kgs. In the first week, you perform that for 10 reps. Second week, you maybe bump up the reps to maybe 1 rep more or 2 reps more. On the third week, you increase that to maybe another 1 rep or 2 reps more. Now you notice that, okay, you're getting very accustomed to this. Your muscles are adapted to this weight. What you can do is on the 4th week, you can add a little extra weight and get back to 10 reps. So if that's 10 kgs, maybe push it up to 13 or 15 kgs or 12, depending on how much you can lift, and bump the reps down to 10. Then build again from there, 10, maybe 11, 12. Rep ranges vary depends on how many you can perform with good form. Don't cheat on the reps. You might get away with a simple movement like the bicep curls. You can maybe cheat with that. But when you get into complex movements like the deadlift, bench press, squats, try not cheating in those movements, because what's going to happen is that's going to lead you to get injured, and you want to stay away from injury and perform consistently. Having explained what progressive overload is, now I'll come to the reps part. Generally, when I'm training, I use a lower rep range when I'm training for strength. For example, if I'm lifting 80 to 85 or 90% of my 1 rep max. My 1 rep max basically means the amount of weight that I can move for just 1 rep. So let's say if that's in the deadlift, for example, if I'm lifting about 100 kgs, 90 kgs would be my 85%, 90% of my 1 rep max. I would perform that for maybe 3 reps, 4 reps or 5 reps. And also the rest period between sets will increase. So generally the rest period between sets would be for me around 3 to 4 minutes, sometimes even 5 minutes. I generally take enough rest till my body feels ready for the next set, because the weights that I'm moving are heavy, at least for me. Having said that, the low rep range will generally suit you best for building strength. The higher rep range, the moderate one, there's a lot of confusion in that as to which rep range works best for you. Some people say 8 to 12 is best for building muscle. To a certain extent, that's correct. Some people also say 15 to 30 is the best rep range. It works different for everybody. But what I've seen, the bottom line that works for everyone is that training yourself till you reach fatigue, which means train till you reach that last rep where you feel that, okay, after this, my form is going to break. That's the last rep you can perform, because training till fatigue and training till failure are two different things. Sometimes you get that confused. Even I used to do that in the beginning. Training till failure would mean you train to such an extent where your body is completely exhausted and cannot perform any more of that movement. So it could be, let's say you did 10 reps with good form, you did another 5 reps but with shitty form, and you still got that done, and then you did another 3 reps with someone's assistance. So that is basically training till failure, where you cannot perform any more reps. That is like your muscles are completely exhausted. Training till fatigue is training till that last rep where you feel that your form is going to break. After this, you don't exceed it, because like I said before, you might get away with simple movements like bicep curls, but when it comes to complex movements like the deadlift, overhead press, in those cases, you might get yourself injured, and you want to stay away from injuries. The third thing which would help you a lot is time under tension. Time under tension can be used in any scenario, and it's also worked for me to basically break plateaus. When you're doing bicep curls, let's say, the positive range of motion would be the one that you're lifting it up, that you curl the weight up. The negative range of motion would be when you're lowering it down. So when you're lowering the weight down, in that case, you can add the time under tension to it, as in lower it down in a much slower manner, adding like 3 to 4 seconds on the negative. So 70 to 75% of your 1 rep max would help you when you're training for hypertrophy. And when you're training for strength, is generally above 80 to 85%. That's a good range to be in. 3 things I'll repeat once again: progressive overload, 2 ways of doing it, reps and adding more weights. Time under tension, you can use that in any scenario in your workouts. It's good for building muscle. Third thing is the rep range which you're using. Smaller rep ranges with higher weight is going to be for strength building. Take enough rest between the sets. When you're training for hypertrophy, you can reduce the rest period to maybe a minute. When you're training for strength, you can keep that to at least 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. Depends on how much you need. So yeah, play around with this, try to understand your body type and work around it and make the best workout plan that suits you. That's about it for this video, guys. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. And if you want me to cover another topic, kindly hit that down in the comment section, and I'll try my best to cover that in the best way possible. Until then, see you next time.